Hello, I'd like to welcome you to our session today. Whenever you are listening in, we are so glad that you are here. This is the simplified guide to Swedish online gaming. I'm Pam Sullivan, virtual trainer for Empire Global. We will dive in just a moment, but I wanted to first mention that we have a chat box available for any questions that you have. It's not live, but all of the questions will be sent via email, and I assure you that we will get back to you just as soon as we can. And if you're watching the replay, please still go ahead and use the comments box. We really look forward to reading your feedback and questions, and we will respond. In our time together today, we'll go over quickly some changes that have come about recently in Sweden, specifically about the new laws when it comes to online gaming. So if you're new to that space or interested in getting started with your own online casino in Sweden, you'll want to hear about that. We'll also talk about the games that are allowed, the application process for your license, costs, and some other things to keep in mind before you get started. All information provided here is without responsibility, and it's not to be substituted for legal advice. This information may not be suitable for you, so please evaluate whether opening a casino is legal in your jurisdiction. This program is brought to you by Empire Global Partners, an international consultancy led by Lionel Erouk, who is an international gaming and tax law expert. Empire Global has served clients from across the globe and specializes in online gambling licensing. You can learn more at empireglobal.partners. Lionel Erouk is our content expert, and he has developed this and many other training sessions for Empire Global. Lionel is Senior Managing Counsel. He has represented thousands of companies in the online gaming space, and he is legal counsel and advisor for hundreds of gaming companies in over 40 countries. Sweden, as I'm sure you know, is one of the most beautiful places, as you can see in the photos here. It is an important Scandinavian economy and also a member of the European Union. But what you may not know is that it has a very vibrant gambling and betting culture that goes back decades. In the last few years, the government recognized that more and more people were shifting to using their mobile phones and the internet for gambling instead of limiting themselves to physical casinos and terminals. Even with all of this activity, it wasn't until recently that Sweden opened up to external investors. Before that, it was a closed market in the field of gambling, and so a state monopoly controlled the market. So to prevent the spread of unauthorized gaming operators, in 2018 the government brought about legislation to regulate both offline and online gambling and opened the industry to the private sector. The gaming industry in Sweden was one of the last major closed sectors in the European Union, and the online gaming sector already had revenues of $1 billion in 2018. The new laws came into force on January 1st, 2019, and they aim to create a level playing field for all operators and prevent revenue leakages from untaxed operators, which we will talk more about later. And ensuring the players were kept safe was another issue that brought about the change. If you are an investor wanting to get started in the industry, all of this means that now you have a golden opportunity. You'll have access to a mature market with high income and no previous major player with first mover advantages. You could very well start your business and secure a good market share. As we get into talking about the new laws, which have really brought about a revolution, keep in mind that while they were approved by the Parliament last year, they came into force only on January 1st, 2019. The first licenses weren't released until later on in the year in 2019. So what that means is that if you are an interested investor and you've not yet sought out a license, that's all very good news. You are not yet late into the process. So again, the new laws came into force in January of 2019, and it's called the Gambling Act and Gambling Ordinance. They provide guidelines on the qualifications of the applicants, the regulatory standards for the equipment, including types of games which can be operated, the standards for advertisements by gaming operators, and the process of granting licenses. The new laws do govern both online and offline operations, but in this training today we will focus only on the provisions governing online gaming. And now I'm sure one of the key questions that is most likely on your mind if you are a potential operator is, what games would I be able to run once I secure my license? A license for an online casino would allow games such as roulette, baccarat, punto banco, and blackjack, dice games, and poker. And a betting license would also allow sports betting operations, but there are special provisions on things like horse races, so just something to keep in mind there. One of the provisions in the new laws is the separation of licenses for an online casino and for betting, which includes sportsbook operations. And I will talk more about licensing next, but just so you know, you will have to decide whether you want a license for an online casino or for sports betting or both. The license for online casino and online betting operations can be applied together, which can simplify the process for many potential investors. The requests for licenses for both online casinos and online betting have to be made to the Swedish Gambling Authority, or I will give it a try to pronounce, Spelinspektionen, which has been entrusted under the law to issue the licenses and regulate the sector. The authority also provides guidelines on the application process and on the conduct of the operations, and licenses can be issued for a period of 5 years. The application for a license can be made by a single person or a corporation from across the globe. However, the number of documents required to be submitted during the application process may vary depending on whether the application has been made by a single person or by a company, and whether it has been made by a resident of the European Economic Area or not. For any potential applicant, the documents which need to be submitted relate to the identity of key personnel, regulatory decisions such as judicial decisions against the applicant and criminal records, ownership or corporate structure, incorporation documents, and business experience, the business plan for the new business, and a plan for how the operations will be run, financial documents for the last 5 years, tax certificate, debt, and bankruptcy status certificate, information about any past gambling licenses. And now the Swedish gambling law also regulates the processing of private information of the players, so this is something that would definitely need special attention from any potential operators. A last point to consider for any foreign applicant is that if you are from outside the European Economic Area, you will need to appoint a full-time local representative who is based in Sweden to communicate with the regulator and run all of the operations in Sweden. If you happen to be the lucky person appointed to be the local representative based in Sweden, you'll also be responsible for maintaining the equipment for the operations, which by law needs to be located in Sweden unless a specific exemption is obtained, and ensure that the equipment adheres to strict testing and meets certification requirements. The fees for the online casino and betting licenses are listed here, and as I mentioned earlier, the new laws have separated the two different types of licenses. So 400,000 Swedish krona for each one. If both licenses are purchased together, however, you will save money. That will be 700,000 for both, and a renewal of a license will cost 300,000. In addition to the fee for the licenses, a key factor for any potential operator to consider is that you will of course have to pay some corporate taxes each year. Luckily though, Sweden is business friendly in this regard, with the current corporate tax rate at 22%, and that number is expected to gradually decrease even more to 20.6% by the year 2021. In addition to the corporate taxes, you will also have to pay a special gambling tax of 18% on the difference between stakes and payouts. The players, however, have it much easier. They pay zero tax on their winnings in a licensed casino, and this is highly advantageous though for you as a licensed casino operator, because you will attract those players who will be betting on big sums. The status of Sweden as a reputed economy and a strong regulatory oversight is likely to attract a large number of high-value gamblers. In other legislation, you will have to comply with any anti-money laundering laws and the Know Your Client rule. And now hopefully we have given you a good understanding here of what to expect when obtaining a Swedish online gaming license to open your own online casino. Now is the perfect time to get started. And if you want to talk to the experts about anything we went over here today, you can set up an appointment right online at calendly.com/Empire Global Partners, or get in touch directly through the website, www.empireglobal.partners, or email them at any time, info@empireglobal.partners. And we would love to connect with you on social media as well. We are on Facebook at Empire Global Partners, Twitter at Empire Globals, Instagram at Empire Global Partners, and we're also on YouTube. And again, you are welcome to use the chat box here before you go today. Just type in your questions and hit send. We look forward to reading them all, and we receive them by email. We will follow up with you just as soon as we can. We know there is a lot to consider, and Empire Global Partners is your team here to make the process so much easier for you. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you soon.